Hello everyone, welcome back. Thanks for watching. About 4 years ago, I made a video on this YouTube channel about cutting the cord, saving money for antenna TV. I've been doing this a long time for antenna TV. But when I made that video 4 years ago, that was when I officially left AT&T and DirecTV, went on to bigger and better things. I made that video at my old house, but I came here to make that video at my friend's house. And 4 years later, I'm standing in a house, I own it now, and things have changed. The smart panel is not in the laundry room where it was. It's now in my bedroom. Everything's been rewired in this house, and now I own the house. And the antennas that I showed you in that video, although they do work, and I used them for many years, we got new ones here. I went out and wanted to find more aesthetically pleasing antennas that work just as good because I own this house. And I have my tower I'm going to put up for ham radio, and the last thing I wanted was these obnoxious, antennas. Everybody, the name of the game is this. If you want to not pay for cable TV, here's what you do. Number one, you get something for antenna, for local news, for everything that you want, all your major networks local. Then you pay for something like Hulu. I'm going to tell you why about Hulu versus Netflix. And then you get a smart TV. And I'm going to show you my smart TVs and why I picked those. I'm telling you right now, man, times are tough. I am not going to throw my money away. I'd rather piss my money away into 3D printers and ham radios and stuff than to pay for the cable company. It's stupid. This is a passion for me, just like ham radio. It involves knowing about signals, VHF, UHF, trying to receive the best signal and get the best quality picture. That's the name of the game. I found these antennas and I purchased them on Amazon. I never heard of them before. I took a gamble, but now my sister has just bought these too because this video, I'm going to show you the antennas outside. Those antennas have been out there 6 months. And this is going to be the most authentic 6-month review on these antennas that you could possibly get. And I'll even show you how much the weather is starting to beat those things, and they're still working good. So from the makers of Antop, I have a couple antennas here, including the one I bought for my RV, which is also good for attics, apartments, and places where you can't have outdoor antennas. And I bought this for my RV. I haven't put it up yet. These boxes are empty. I'm using these. I'm going to show you about the booster that comes with them, the new smart panel, everything else right now on HamRadioConcepts.
Ham Radio Concepts is brought to you by HamRadioPrep.com. It's never been easier to learn about ham radio before you take the exam. And Ham Radio Prep makes it fun and guarantees your success. Visit HamRadioPrep.com. Use the code ERIC20 to instantly save 20% off every course you buy. Remember the name, HamRadioPrep.com.
So let's take a look at what I got going on over here. I remember in a previous video years ago, I had antennas, a lot of antennas, one north, one south, one for VHF. I did the same thing at my grandmother's, because she wanted certain channels as well. Bought the antennas, got that. And I gave one away. This is one of the older ones I had for the last few years, and it still works. And I had to, but that was just UHF. This is, VHF only. And I had to have that just to get NBC, right? But look at this. All that's replaced by just one of those. Now I have two up there. And the reason I have two is because I want one north, one south. And there's a way to combine those, but we're not going to get into that today. What you're looking at is the one that is on the back side over here is UHF with the panel, facing south, and it's got the two dipoles, or the dipole here for VHF elements. This thing gets the same amount of channels, actually a few more that I didn't get, as something like this. I had to add that just for VHF, and that worked great. I'm not saying that's bad. But when you look at what I had at my old house and you tell somebody, this is what you need for VHF, UHF, and this and that, north and south, and they kind of look at you funny and they say, wow, that's a lot of stuff. Look, one of those antennas right there, okay? One of those antennas will replace what you see here on the ground, okay? So let me take one of these down and show you exactly about it, go over some specs on these antennas from Antop, and you can see that it's got some yellowing because, again, this has been out there 6 months, just on a pole. All right, and I'm gonna put this on my tower, although I'm gonna, that might be another video, because with my ham radio stuff on the tower, and I'm transmitting, well, it used to be that it would interfere with some of the channels was on the transmit, and my wife would say, are you on the radio? Yes, you know, so it would interfere. But maybe these with the LTE filter in there and some other filtering, maybe these aren't as susceptible to ham radio interference when I'm transmitting. But either way, let me take one of these down and show you real quick. So here's the Antop 400 BV. This is a panel style amplified VHF UHF antenna. Probably the one that most people are going to go after because of the price range and the range of signals that it claims to have. This has been outside 6 months, and you can tell because it's yellowed between the base on the bottom and the unit up top. Now, you see the base here, I keep that off. This can be used indoors if you're in a metropolitan area, if you're in something like Fort Lauderdale, Miami, New York, California, Austin, Texas, wherever they have a TV market. You can put this inside, and although some people say, well, it's not the most aesthetically pleasing on my living room, you can be crafty with this, or even put it in the attic. And with the foot like this, you can set it down. Now, I take the foot off like this, okay, and I'd leave that off. But look at the difference in the color here. If I get this on camera, you can see this is, if that shows it up on the camera, that is 6 months difference in color, white versus more of a yellowed. Now, the way this works is, and this is not that heavy, you can see right here, not heavy at all, okay? That big one that's out there that I had for years, you had to manhandle that thing up there. It wasn't that heavy, even though it was a, you know, clear wire type construction. But look, I mean, I don't recommend doing that, but you can do it like this, see? Two fingers, not heavy at all. The front panel is for UHF. This is some sort of directional. So that's why I have two of them, because I want to face one to the south market and one to the north market. But the VHF rods here, this is like a dipole for those who understand antennas. There's your VHF dipole. These simply screw on, okay? So, okay, they're just rods like that screw on. You don't have to use these. If you're not interested or you don't have VHF in your area, then you don't need it. Now I do, that's why I chose to get these, because they do make this model without VHF rods in there, okay? So, VHF, UHF. After 6 months of being out in the elements, in the weather, this hardware right here has not rusted. So they did put stainless hardware on here, okay? And the clamps, this moves a little bit. If you loosen that, you can kind of position it. You'd be better off taking this on the pole with the clamps and moving it this way, but I guess you could loosen that and kind of tweak that for optimal, you know, signal performance. On the back, very simple. This is where your coax goes in, if you can see that, right here. Now the coax connector, it does come with 34 foot of coax in this one. Some of them come with like 48 foot of coax. Good RG6 coax, solid copper. It's got the rubber boot, so it goes on here and keeps that weather tight, all right? I'm not gonna take this apart. I thought about it and I thought, well, let's really see what's inside this thing, but I don't need to. I can tell you right now that this 400 BV here is exceptional, just as compared to that DB8. And a lot of people, when I made that video years ago, had said, Eric, there's better options. There's ones that, you know, I was always looking for the highest gain. And although those worked great from that manufacturer, I'd rather have something a little more pleasing like this. And this can go, like I said, in the attic, can go inside. This one did not work inside for me. I got like 5 channels because of my block house. On this side, you got the whole house in front of Orlando and a room plus block wall facing West Palm. So had I have had this with my slider, you know, maybe my open end of the house facing the West Palm market and this behind the TV or whatever, maybe I would have got something. Or in the attic. Didn't try it in the attic, don't need to. So some other things about this 400 BV and the 800. So the AT400 BV claims 70 to 85 miles. I'm going to say that's probably legit because I can get my Orlando market, and if I spin it around, I can get the West Palm market. However, that's why I have 2 of them. I also have the 800, which is practically the same thing. They say 85 miles with the 800, and it comes with the adjustable smart boost power amplifier / splitter. Now, to give you a couple things here, indoor, outdoor antenna, okay? Enhanced VHF signal reception. A big thing that a lot of antennas don't have is VHF included. And I've struggled to get VHF. And you know what? When I want to watch the Super Bowl, it's always on NBC. And NBC's always on VHF in my area. So I have to have, but you know what? We watched the Super Bowl because I had this up. We watched Super Bowl. Not a single lick of pixelation or anything through the entire game, okay? Digital technology allows high gain reception. Smart Pass amplifiers. This one comes with the Smart Pass amplifier / 4G LTE filter. And if you're not aware of that, I guess Antop says they are the only manufacturers that include an LTE filter. And why is that important? Here's your fun fact of the day. Because when they went digital, and in the last couple of years, they had what's called a repack. And the repack was because cell phone companies wanted to buy a lot of these spectrum, and the TV transmitters were ordered within an X amount of time to change the frequency of their transmitting stations in order to compensate for what people like AT&T and Verizon bought. Now, if your LTE signal from a transmitter is right next to a channel for TV, that could cause interference. I'm not sure if I've ever suffered that or had that situation in my time, but maybe that's why this works so well, is because the LTE is filtered out in certain, upper UHF frequencies up into 700 and 800 megahertz. That's where a lot of the cell phone is, and that's what they had just bought, and that's why there was a repack. So, perfect for outdoor, indoor, and RV use. And I'm going to show you the RV antenna that I have, and I'm going to show you that in another video, and you can check that out on my other YouTube channel, The Ponderosa, and that link is in the description below. So this says high gain equal to mechanical antennas, and I'm going to say it is, because I've had quite an experience with this compared to all kinds of other antennas I've made, I've bought, I've had given to me. A lot of those antennas, this operates exactly the same. Now, let me flip this around here. This is multi-directional, although the gain is more prominent off the front side of this, okay? But these are omnidirectional. The VHF elements are either way. And if you're close enough, this is another problem I have with other antennas. If your front to back ratio is really good, and it's a really directional antenna, okay, if you have a transmitter 20 miles behind you, it's going to reject that, and it makes it really directional. This will actually receive off both sides, a little more prominent on the front versus the back, okay? Redesigned to match similar gain of traditional, bulky, unsightly mechanical antennas. Now again, this is my house, and I really don't want what I used to call the Tower of Power, which was all those antennas. I really didn't want those everywhere on my house. So this is an adequate replacement. This can be used on a balcony, in an attic, indoor, outdoor, on a wall, on a roof, okay? And it does come with the flat panel Smart Pass amplified antenna. The size, for those wondering, is 22 inches by 10 inches by 4.7 inches, all right? Power inserter with smart switch. Make sure you turn it on. I screwed up and didn't do that the first time. I was wondering why it wasn't working. VHF enhanced rods. You have 39-foot coaxial cable, wall and pole mounting kit, instruction manual, and more. So that's the 400 BTV. So for those who are going to say, well, there's not much to watch on TV, consider this. When you have a hurricane, we're approaching hurricane season, I can tell you right now, I worked for AT&T, I worked for DirecTV. If that satellite dish gets tweaked or bent in the wind, forget it. You're out of TV, and they're not sending someone tomorrow to fix your TV. What are your kids gonna do? What are you gonna do? First of all, you can get PBS and a bunch of kids channels these days on antenna TV. You wanna keep those little ones quiet while you're outside cleaning up the yard, and at least have something from an antenna that will keep you informed of local news and entertained with some movie channels that are on there and some other stuff to watch. I mean, this isn't just me saying this. I worked for AT&T and watched, after Hurricane Irma and Dorian, I watched people going berserk because they wanted their TV back on. And we couldn't just get up the pole or go to the fiber hub and connect this stuff that was full of water. It was weeks before they had TV. So consider this. As long as the transmitting stations that are 300-400 foot in the air on generators with many redundant systems, as long as they're online, you're gonna have TV, and you can power this and your TV off an inverter with a battery, a generator, whatever. Consider that. If I'm wrong, leave a comment below and tell me that this won't work after a catastrophic storm. Okay, so the AT800 SBS. So again, this one claims up to 85 miles, and I haven't had both of these simultaneous together yet because you have to run power to each one of those with those boosters. Using a diplexer or a splitter out up on the top of the antenna, taking the 15 volts from the smart booster and it splits it up top, only 7.5 volts to each antenna, and then they don't work. So you run these dual, but you have to run a separate coax feed to each one. This one includes the adjustable OTA signal booster, and it connects 2 TVs. Okay, and that's because the booster has the additional port on the output of the booster, so you don't need a splitter on top of that. Now this one has a built-in FM antenna, and that's great for those who want to use HD radio. Maybe you're in an area where you can't get FM broadcast. Again, when all else fails, FM radio will be the last thing standing, you know what I mean? You can get that on a battery-powered radio or your home theater or whatever, but to have a built-in FM antenna amplifier with that and a 4G LTE filter to filter out those LTE signals I was telling you about is great, okay? Now, so this one, again, looks almost about the same size, right? But this one comes with 40-foot coax, and it gives you the integrated amplifier inside the antenna, the power booster dial. I'm going to talk about that in a second when you see the smart panel. The second output of that can go to another TV at FM stereo, an over-the-air ready projector, an over-the-air ready streaming device, such as my ClearStream TV, so I can stream antenna to my tablet or phone and record and watch it anywhere, okay, and more. So same things come in there with the kit here. Coaxial cable is 140-foot plus 1 5-foot. The power adapter, the enhanced VHF signal rods, power booster, wall mounting kit, pole mounting kit, and more. That is the 800. So here's the smart panel now, which is in the bedroom closet. Dan did a good job here. He cut the smart panel in with the door, okay? He's got conduits ran to individual rooms, plenty of Cat 6, which is unfortunately not being used, and a lot of it to every wall has Cat 6 outlets, and you got what we call the microwave up here for all my security cameras, Ethernet. It's a big switch under here with the DVR for the cameras, everything there. But anyway, so there's a lot of RG6. He used all copper, solid copper RG6 for the best signal for DirecTV or whoever wants to put anything in his house. Again, I'm using this just for antenna. And I added a power strip. There's a couple things I want to change in here. I haven't had the time. He put this in here for the DC barrels, you know, so if you want to plug in here, it's a 110 to 12 volt Leviton. And in my 1 gig service from Comcast, which is going away because they're running AT&T fiber in my backyard right now. The PFP is in my backyard. I will have fiber momentarily. But here is the Antop Smart Boost. Now, if you don't have something like this, that's no problem. You don't have to have this. All you have to do is put something like this at your TV location at one of the cables. And basically you feed power into it, and then the TV gets one cable here, and this goes from to the antenna. Basically the antenna signals are coming into this, and this is feeding power to the amplified antenna for the operation. You must power these antennas, at least the models I have, with power from the Smart Boost. Now the power booster has a knob on here for power. The idea is to adjust the power when you scan for channels and you get reception to not overload it. If you're in a huge metropolitan area and you're right underneath the transmitters, you're going to want to dial that down. Okay? If you can actually overload your transmitters or your receiver by trying to boost it. Too much of is not good, okay? So what I usually set it right about the 1 to 2 o'clock position for my location between Orlando and West Palm Beach West Palm Beach, and it works fine. Now, on days where the propagation is really good, and that means I'm getting TV stations from, or signals from Atlanta and Texas and Alabama. It's going to cause a problem if the gain is too hot, so you can dial that down. But On top of that, you have this connector here, TV, FM, or device. And that is good for a second TV. If you only have 2 TVs, you can somehow, based on your creativity here, feed a second TV. Like I got 1 TV right behind this wall. So I could, if I only had 2, run this one to 1 TV in this room and this one through the wall. You'll get the idea. But also for FM radio, HD radio, if you're in an area where you don't have much FM HD coverage, this will enhance the FM broadcast from that station, okay, and feed that out here, as well as device. So if you want to use like a clear stream streaming stick, where you run the antenna signal into it, and then you can go Wi-Fi to your tablet and have TV over Wi-Fi, that can be used for that as well. What I'm doing right now is I have a splitter here, just a 3-way splitter. Okay, put that back here. That's just laying in here for now. So I have a 3-way splitter here, and that's going to bedroom, living room, front room. Okay, and that's all I have, and that's all I need. But that is the smart panel, a lot different than what you saw many years ago in the laundry room, where the smart panel was in there, and he did a good job on that one too. But can you imagine the amount of work it took to rip all those cables out and add more and run them over to here, down this wall, in a nice smart panel fashion with a clip door like that, and away you go. Cut the cord, enjoy free TV. Now Antop, if you have an antenna, you don't want one, but you want something to just add to what you're using. This is the Antop HD Smart Boost amplifier for antenna. It does amplify VHF and UHF signals with a turn of a dial. And they wouldn't make this if they weren't expecting you to use a knob. Meaning, everybody wants to buy one of these and go 100% on that knob. And you can do more harm than good and snuff out stations that are actually coming in pretty good. The idea behind a knob is if you're in an area where your signals are very strong from the transmitters, that you could turn them down a little bit and not overload. The digital works different than the analog, okay? You don't want to have the digital signals overpowered in the receiver on your radio because you won't get the channels. It won't store them on a channel scan. Dual outputs connects to more than one device, FM stereo, second TV, or a streaming device like the Clearstream TV stick that I have. Enhances FM reception. Again, this is still in a box here. I haven't used this yet. This is the same one that comes with the 800 BV or SBS, and that's what's in my smart panel. I might use this though on the second antenna and then adjust them one north, one south. So if West Palm's coming in stronger than Orlando, I could dial that in. I just got to run another coax from the smart panel and the splitter to the antennas. But they do make a lot of accessories, including combiners, duplexers, and more from Antop. Now I bought this on top of it exclusively for my RV. Why? Because I'm renting my RV out now, and when we used it, the antenna that's on that RV roof flat out sucks. It really does. It's got a amplifier, like a preamp thing, in the wall on the outlet for the RV antenna. You turn it on and off, but man, it doesn't really do well. Now this is what they call the UFO Dual Omni Smart Pass Amplified, and not only for RV. It's not an RV antenna. It's for outdoor/RV/attic. So 55 to 65 mile range. And if you need to, if you're in an HOA and you can't put up an antenna outside the pole like that, check this out. I can tell you right now that the size of this compared to the one that's on my RV is much better, right? And look at this. They even give you, see the little top here? This is your little VHF. Ta-da! Now it does look like a space age UFO, and I'm waiting to put this on the RV, okay? Comes with the coax, comes with the Smart Pass adapter, just like the 400 right here. Very simple. Put the power in here, turn the switch on, that powers the antenna. And then here is the wall mount or attic mount or roof mount or RV mount. What I'm trying to figure out is how I'm going to mount this on the roof of the RV, just like the stock antenna is mounted. That's what I want to do. And unfortunately, this is mounted a little bit differently than the one on top of my Coachman. So when I get this going, that's going to be on another channel because I want to show you a before and after. I can only imagine that this thing is going to be way better than the little tiny King, they call it, King brand or whatever, on top of the RV. This thing's going to do a lot better. But if you're in an HOA or an apartment and you're in, a good area, this may be a viable solution for you that's cheaper than something like that, and that will work probably a lot better than an indoor antenna. So here's a fun fact about smart TVs these days, okay? My sister, she was asking me, she was asking me, she just went and bought a TCL smart TV. And the reason I told her to get that was because smart TVs nowadays have a whole plethora of free channels that you can get aside from what you have on the antenna. For instance, this is a smart TV. This is Samsung. I'm going to show you the TCL in a second. But this is, the first thing she said was, oh, LG or Philips. No, that's stupid. Don't buy. If you want, listen, my sister's paying $390 a month for 4 TVs with AT&T UVerse. That is dumb, okay? This is a smart Samsung 4K. This is actually kind of like a hybrid. It's a monitor and a TV. But although you get the smart stuff in here, Hulu and everything, check this out. This comes with Samsung TV Plus. And this is built into the TV, and it runs on Wi-Fi. Now, I could tell you, there's hundreds of channels. Look at this. This is all included with the TV. So if you can't find something to watch on your antenna, you can go through here, and there's a lot of good movies that play on here through Samsung TV. This is Samsung TV's own little TV service. Look, there's a Family Ties channel. I love Family Ties. All kinds of TVs. Look at this. I'm up in the thousands here. That's channel 1264. All this comes built into your Samsung capable, look at this, Hell's Kitchen channel. Gordon Ramsay's a man, right? WWE channel, HSN, QVC, Foods, BBC Food, BBC Home. I mean, all this stuff. Listen, again, you're telling me there's nothing to watch on TV without paying for it. You're dead wrong. I don't pay for TV. My TV costs me $7.99 a month, and that's for Hulu. Now, this is all built into Samsung on top of the antenna. You're talking a couple thousand channels between the antenna and this. The only difference is the Samsung TV won't give you your latest hurricane update if you're in a hurricane area or you're watching the election. This is a lot of movie channels and a lot of stuff that are not pertinent to your immediate vicinity. That's why it's important to have an antenna so you can see what's happening in your local market. All right, so this is the TCL TV that I told my sister to buy. This is a 65-inch 4K by TCL, okay? And it's got the Roku remote. But here's the deal. Again, one more time. If you want free TV, you get your live TV. And this is the cool thing about the Roku TVs and the TCLs is they give you a whole interface for guide and everything on TV. You know, if you go like this, you got a whole program guide, right? You can see what's coming on later. This all happens over antenna. But watch this. When you get past the last channel here you go, streaming TV. Okay, now you got, like I just showed you on the Samsung TV, ABC Live, NBC Live, Fox Live, Weather Channel, Weather Underground, USA Today. You're not smart if you're paying for TV and you can get this stuff free. It just depends on the TV that you buy, okay? But look, I mean, I got news for you, folks. There's a racing channel on here that I cannot find since they pulled it off. There it is. If you have an NHRA channel on your provider, comment below, because I remember when they took it away from us, the speed channel's on here. This is built into the TV. This is all free. Black TV, free movies, Western, whatever that's called, El Rey, Action, Classic, Cinevault, music channels. Here, you want a Baywatch channel? It's on there. Okay, Johnny Carson, Redbox, Movie Sphere, British, and more. There's no reason to pay for TV. You've been asking and said, there's nothing on antenna TV. Well, here's the bonus on this video. Look, your kids. There's a whole kids section. Why would you pay for UVerse to let your kids watch Kids Bop when you can get it for free? That's the moral of the story on this video right here. Anyways, you get the idea. With the antennas I just showed you and a TCL or a Samsung or compatible TV that has the built-in channels, it only costs you $7.99 for a month for Hulu, for one program Hulu, and the rest is free. All right, folks, so I'm gonna get up here and wrap this up, put some cable ties back on here and get this mounted back up and start getting it combined, checking my connections. Let me give you a couple pointers before I leave. So height is might. This is not the optimal position that I want this. I want this on my 40-foot tower, which would look like it's way up there. And it's not up yet because I haven't had the time, okay? This can happen on a pole like this, and you can buy push-up poles that you can strap to the house, put in a little bit of concrete, get it up 30, 40 feet. This is only about, well, 22, 24 feet high. And, you know, I've had this at my old house, not these ones, my other ones, about 35 foot in the air at one point. It was a little shaky at 35 on a pole. Then I had my tower, my tubular crank-up TV tower that I got. Remember when the TV antenna flew over in a straight line wind, for those who remember on my channel, and it landed, the TV antenna on top hit the 13,000 volt power line on the top and burned out every kind of TV and coax in my house. You got to be careful when you put this stuff up, okay? Picture where it's going to fall if it were to fall, and that's why it's right here. Because if it did fall, it's not going to be in the contact with power lines. But this is temporary. I've had this up for a year since I've lived here, but I'm going to make something better. Like when I had my tower put up and I had that concrete and bolted and climb the tower, put these, maybe one on the front face, one on the back face, put my ham radio antennas on top. But height is might. The higher you can get this, the better. Also, here's a fun fact. You heard this here first. Did you know that pine needles on pine trees for those hams are resonant in the UHF spectrum? Yes, because of the length of a typical pine needle. When it gets wet, if you have a pine forest, that can actually degrade your signal on UHF and TV tremendously. So consider your tree line before you get an antenna, and consider where you would face it, where your transmitters are. There's apps. You can check out my original video on this. The link is in the description to that as well, about how this works with the frequency allocations and stuff, and see exactly how to find the best signals and what app to use. And you'll see those old antennas, because 4 years ago I didn't have these. But you know, antenna TV guys, it's not just for people that are broke. You may be my neighbor over here and say, you know, I have money to spend, I'll tear $100 bills. Fine. But I refuse to pay money for that. I'd rather use that money to grow my YouTube channel and to buy toys and to go on my boat and to put it into my diesel and to put it in my RV and go traveling. Why would I pay a cable company? That's just me. If you're a cable company junkie and you want to keep paying that, that's fine. And the next thing I'll say to that is, just make sure you have one of these in your preparedness plan. In the event you get a natural disaster, you can throw up an antenna in minutes and have TV and continue watching something and stay alert for survival in your area for a natural disaster. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you everybody for watching. For those who don't understand what I do on YouTube, I love teaching. I do. I love having a YouTube channel, and this is along the lines of radio signals and antennas, but it's not exactly reviewing a new ham radio that was sent to me or that I bought, you know? I choose to buy this stuff with my Amazon gift cards that I get in order to make videos like this, and now I have free antennas because I got it with Amazon gift cards. The links are all in the description below, and I hope that this enlightened you and just gave you something fun to watch instead of watching a half hour of The Bachelor. Come on, this is way more fun, isn't it? 7-3 everybody. This is KJ4YZI with HamRadioConcepts, or you're watching it on the Ponderosa. Either way, let me know in the comments what you think, and have a good day.